The Griffin is one of the best creatures in the entire game, and with Ragnarok's arrival, Griffins are now breedable. But is the Griffin any good? Hello Dodo crew and welcome back to another video on ARK Ascended. Currently, you can only find the Griffin on Ragnarok, which means you cannot tame it on any other map, although it might be added to maps like Astraeus at a later time. It usually hangs around the mountains in the center of the map, and if one has spawned, it can be spotted pretty easily. Griffins are often seen alone or in a pair, and they most commonly spawn around forests or at the top of the mountains close to the cliffs. They have a rather wide aggression radius, and will chase a survivor for long distances before disengaging. However, they are still kinda rare right now, but with a gene scanner and a decent flyer, you can find one pretty fast. Taming them is not too hard, and overall they're probably the single best creature you can tame on Ragnarok, but more on that later. These are the regions where I found Griffins. For those who do not want to search for a Griffin, I've put the spawn commands in the video description. Just fill in the level you want and you're good to go. On a side note, as of I'm editing this, I'm at about 5k subs. If you could sub to help me reaching my goal of 10k subs by the end of the year, I would greatly appreciate it. Taming a Griffin requires a bit of preparation. It is kinda easy once you get the hang of it, but it's nothing to be underestimated due to their mobility and insane aggro range. Its favorite food is extraordinary kibble or raw mutton. Taming it with any other food will result in a fairly long taming time and very low taming efficiency. There are different types of traps you can use on a Griffin, but my favorite is any variant that is built with gates. These traps aren't quite as effective or creative, but they're quite easy to build and fairly straightforward to use. The simplest version was created by Captain Fat Dog and is built in the following way. Place the structures as shown, and after trapping the Griffin by running through the trap and opening the door, you can simply trank it. Pretty much all trap designs need you to draw the Griffin's aggro and then run into the trap to catch the Griffin and then trank it from the outside. Taming a Griffin takes somewhat between 15 minutes to 2 hours on one-time rates, which means depending on the food you feed it and the server settings you're playing on. Griffins do not need a saddle, and since Ragnarok Ascended, they are breedable, which means you can now build the most awesome Griffin ever. From now on, almost everyone who is not riding a Meguana will be riding Griffins, because as we already saw in ASE, they are currently one of the fastest and most consistent flyers in the game. The Griffin brings some long-awaited abilities to the game, making it especially useful and a must-tame from early on. The Griffin can go into a momentum dive by angling down while sprinting. This causes the Griffin to take up speed, enabling to use a dive attack. Griffins have two different dive attacks. The first is a diving swipe. While diving, level out and use your primary attack to deal a ton of damage to hit the target. The second one is a dive bomb. While diving, ram into your target. You will deal damage to your target and your Griffin as well, as bringing your Griffin to a stop, which means you need to regain momentum. Right now, the Griffin is the single fastest flyer aside from Meguanas, which unlike in ASA was released much earlier this time. And until we get net guns, the Griffin and the Meguana are going to be absolute beasts in PvP, which means you need to tame them as soon as possible. The Griffin has two main roles in my opinion. First, the Griffin is probably the fastest flyer you can find right now, and unlike the Meguana, it requires literally no skill and you can be the biggest beach bob. As long as you're sitting on a Griffin, you're pretty much unkillable. It's just insane how fast and maneuverable this thing is while still being able to shoot from it while it is in the air. The most important role in my opinion is transporting huge amounts of resources. It's hilarious that the Griffin can carry huge amounts of resources while staying one of the fastest creatures in the game. There are for sure creatures that can carry more than a Griffin, but to be honest, this thing keeps being fast even while carrying a ton of resources. Considering it is a mid-game tame that will be used for the whole run, put some levels in health, stamina and weight and you're good to go. As one of the strongest creatures in the entire game, the Griffin is here to stay. I love the design of the Griffin, and with the new changes, it's basically a no-brainer for me to get the strongest Griffin possible. Right now, especially in PvP, it's one of the top 3 strongest creatures you can play. I hope you liked this video, and I'm thrilled to read if this video has helped you. Hit the like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm and consider subbing to the channel. Alright, Frodo.